profile has their own leadership style that is marked by the numbers in their profile. The 2-4 leads through democracy and abdication. The 2 is democratic. The 4 abdicates to the will of the majority. I don't know in our current landscape if this is the kind of person that would necessarily be most apt. And the reason being is because if she's going to abdicate power and authority, who is she abdicating it to? If you're going to vote for Kamala, you need to know and understand the people she's aligning and associating herself with, almost even more than you need to understand her, because that's who she's abdicating to. She is operating on the cross of laws. So her incarnation cross describes her purpose, her role in the world. The right angle cross of laws is a very common one for people in politics or law because it's literally all about what the laws are that structure society. It's made up of gate 50, gate 3, gate 56, and gate 60. So her specific cross, I wanted to read to you straight from the book. And this describes anyone who's operating on this specific cross that Kamala is. People who create, adapt, or evaluate laws and values to accommodate our species' evolution. Lawmaking as a creative inner process based in humanity's instincts to survive mutation and change. What are we going through? In 2027, when the background frequency changes, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, when we enter this new era, when we cannot rely on institutions to provide in the way that they have before, and we're supposed to take care of ourselves and find our own spirit and abundance in materialism and bond with people in the way that we want to, that's mutation. That's a massive change. That's an evolution in humanity's direction. Her purpose is directly related to the creation of laws that will help us survive that mutation. Line 2, this is part of her purpose, how she fulfills her purpose. This is the quality of her moon as well. Immaturity. That's the word from the Ray V. Ching. Line 2, immaturity. The unrestrained acceptance of guidance. The energy and potential for individual mutation. The unrelenting energy for growth that will eventually triumph. But the flip side of this, and she'll experience both in her lifetime, is energy and potential that is conditioned by others, leading to instability. So when I think about her being a 2, naive, when I think about her being a 4, the abdicator, it's very interesting to see that her moon and earth placement here are in the specific quality of where her immaturity is that she leans too much on other people's guidance. And that could be very risky, right? I'm going to focus on gate 56 because it's her design sun. Gate 56, the voice is, I believe. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, because it's abstract, right? It's about collective ideas that stimulate. It's not about facts and logic. I found this interview of her on Ellen. This was back in 2018.
And it is part of loving our country to say, you know what? I believe those words we spoke in 1776, that we are all equal and should be treated that way.
Yep.
I believe those.
Yep.
I believe those words. And I will march and I will fight to make those words true. And I will do that joyfully.
We each have in our human design chart 4 nodal placements that describe our direction at different stages. The stage that she's in, being that she's 60 years old now, is set by the north node of her design, which is gate 15, line 4. The line 4 quality that she has specifically here is called the wallflower. As a shield against exposure of inadequacy, the wallflower. A genuine form that may or may not mask her inadequacies. The uncomfortableness of the self when it is out of flow. An ultimately weak defense leading to exposure and humiliation. Extremism that keeps the self out of the flow. So this is the person who strategically presents herself as modest, fair, diplomatic, the wallflower, doesn't seem power hungry, comes off pretty innocent. But what this sign in her chart is saying is that that is a strategy for covering up inadequacy. In a few years, if she's to assume the presidency, her nodal environment will change when she's 63. So towards the last year of her first term, she's going to switch over to the north node of personality, which is confession, line 3 confession. And she has fixed conditioning here, meaning it will absolutely play out like this. a perverse and often exaggerated self-hatred, inadequacies in social interaction that lead to the expression of self-hatred. That means right now where she's at is the modest wallflower concealing inadequacy. In 3-4 years, she's going to move into an environment that is all about self-analysis and confession in a way that's going to make her very unhappy with herself. No choice. That's what human design is about. No choice. That's what the chart says. She has an undefined heart. The undefined heart does not really have consistent willpower to keep promises. Everything she says or promises to do, no guarantee. Actually, there's very little guarantee that she'll do anything she promises to do. In fact, if she's directly promising to do something, even going so far as to say, I will, or I promise, or I pledge, most of the time you can surefire bet that just based on the mechanics of the energy alone, that's not going to happen. It doesn't mean that she doesn't fully intend to do it. And it doesn't mean that she's outright lying to you. She could very well feel in the moment that she does intend to promise. But what this chart tells me is that she doesn't have the consistent energy to follow through on promises. So take everything she says with a grain of salt.